This is Guy. Guy is a fucking moron. He's destined to live a life stuck in the rat race. But he heard somewhere that you could get smarter by reading this thing called a book, so he decides that he's going to become a genius, escape the rat race, and retire early on a tropical beach with lots of hot, sexy women wearing coconuts as a bra and bringing him drinks with little umbrellas in them. And first, he happens to pick up the perfect book for that goal called The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. This book enlightens Guy to a new revolution that's happening called the New Rich. This New Rich is a form of lifestyle where people reject the work until you can retire, sit around until you can die lifestyle, and instead live the millionaire lifestyle now. Ferriss states that people with more time are much wealthier than people with more money, so if you were to make $200,000 a year but you have to work 60 hours a week in an office, then you're not as rich as someone who makes $50,000 a year but works 15 hours a week from a fucking Tahiti or wherever they want. Then he goes through all the details from coming up with an idea to actually building a business and hiring employees so that you can go and get a hand job in Tahiti. This book will expand your mind to the possibilities of what life could really be if you start working smarter and not harder. And it has the same effect on our hero, Guy, and now he can practically feel the handy he's going to receive once he moves to Tahiti. He gets excited, and he decides he will create the life of constant vacations, traveling, and barely any work. But he's still sitting on his couch all the time, eating Doritos and being a lazy ballsack, and he knows he's got to pick up some better habits if he wants to be one of the new rich, getting handies in Tahiti. So Guy picks up one of the best books about creating success called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Now, Darren Hardy actually founded Success Magazine, which means he's had tons of time to interview successful people. On top of that, he's an awesome role model too, because as he mentions in the book, at 18, I was making a six-figure income in my own business. By age 20, I owned my own home in an upscale neighborhood. By age 24, my income grew to more than $1 million a year. And by age 27, I was officially a self-made millionaire with a business that brought in more than $50 million in revenue. This guy is clearly just an absolute badass, and that's exactly why his book is so good. One of the central ideas in the book is that you attract success by who you become, and that your success will always match your level of personal development. One genius thing he talks about is how your choices and habits make a huge difference since they determine the trajectory of your entire life over the long run. Choosing to eat chips instead of an apple as a snack now may seem insignificant, but over time, the habit of making that same decision over and over means you'll end up fat, stupid, lazy, and ugly. He also points out that doing things that don't align with your goals cause you a ton of stress, which is why watching girls dance on TikTok instead of pursuing your life goals will make you feel like a sack of warm dog shit. He also talks about momentum or Big Mo. This is what makes it easier to go to the gym after you've been doing it for a while, and it's what all high achievers use to maintain and increase their success. After reading this, whenever I consider skipping my workout, I think about Big Mo and whether I want to kill him. Because, Big Mo is a lot easier to maintain than to get started all over again. Of course, you'd probably already know this too, but having it explained in depth is really good. Another thing he talks about is your influences. Most people fill their brains up with anxiety-inducing news and the words of lazy, unhappy people around them. This is one of the biggest factors in success, since if you only hang out with millionaires, then it won't be long until you become one too. Now, after reading this book, Guy is ready for success. He's realized the things he keeps doing that have been sabotaging him, and now he has better habits like not taking a shot of vodka when he wakes up, going to the gym and staring at girls' asses, and consuming inspiring content like emeralds. But now Guy wants to make some real money, am I right? I mean, these OnlyFans subscriptions don't pay for themselves. So to do that, he picks up Think and Grow Rich. Now, if you are alive, I'm assuming you are, then you've probably heard of Andrew Carnegie. He was at one time the richest man in the world after arriving in the US with only a penny. At the height of his career, he met Napoleon Hill, who documented the strategies that turned him into the wealthiest and most successful person alive at the time. Hill also studied more than 500 other self-made millionaires over 20 years, and finally, all of this research culminated in the book Think and Grow Rich. This book shares the 13 fundamental principles that people use to get filthy fucking rich. Like, rich to the point that you're so bored you just go around sucking on doorknobs because you want to invent the next Ebola. Some of the best crucial steps for making money and getting filthy fucking rich are: 1. Desire. You need to create a deep, burning desire within yourself for money. You can think about how your little brother Timmy died because you couldn't afford to eat, so you just ate him. You know, stuff like that. You just really want money. Once I successfully did this, then I immediately went out and started my first business, so it really works. The next one is faith. You must believe that you can achieve your goal. Basically, you're only limited by the action you take, which is only limited by whether you believe that action will make a difference. So if you don't think you can, then you wouldn't do something, but if you don't think you can fail, then you would do something. The last really important one is persistence. Everyone who is successful has experienced failures, usually a lot of them. Like Mark Cuban says, "You only have to be right once. I tried to sell powdered milk, I was an idiot lots of times, and I learned from them all." And now he's really rich. But really, this is barely scratching the surface, so I would highly recommend that you read this book if you're really serious about getting rich. Now that Guy has read this book, he's got all the keys to success and money, but he wants to learn about starting a business, because obviously you don't get rich by working for a dickhead boss that makes you rate his stupid Tinder profile. So, Guy picks up the book Anything You Want by Derek Sivers. This book is about how he built his company and scaled it from nothing to over $20 million per year. He talks about all the fundamentals of starting a really successful business, and importantly, he talks about the difference between being self-employed and being a business owner. When you become a true business owner, then you're able to take a year off and you'll come back to a thriving business. But if you're just self-employed, well, if you ever take a break, then your entire business will come crashing to the ground faster than you can say, "I want to kill myself." But really, the whole premise of the book is that when you create a business, it's like making your own private world. You can only do the things you like and only let in the people you like. Basically, dream up the perfect work environment. This book will make you fall in love with business and teach you about good business practices, so you'll be ready to create your own. Now, Guy has used these teachings to start his own business called Only Foot Fans. It's like OnlyFans, but just for foot lovers, and it is wildly successful, small wonder. It gives him the free time to relax in Tahiti with no worry about money. But all of a sudden, a competitor business called Only Toe Fans threatens his lifestyle. He must fight them to be the better pervert website, so he picks up the business classic called The Art of War. This is an ancient Chinese military book written by Sun Tzu, and it covers all aspects of warfare, though modern CEOs will quickly apply it to the business world as well. It notes that all warfare is based on deception, that you should appear weak if you're strong and appear strong if you're weak, etc. You should also only pick fights that you know you will win and strike when you're unexpected or where the enemy is weak. Honestly, I'm not going to pretend I know a lot about this book because I listened to it and it just mostly went over my head. It's very in detail and I don't really see how it applies to the business world, but for Guy, who's now running a massive corporation, he understands fully how to apply this in order to cut down his rival, Only Toe Fans, and finally become the world's best website for people who don't shower. Now, someone else had the goal of creating the most popular store for fat, middle-aged white women, and I made a video about how that massive company, and also bank, was actually created, where I go into the most important aspects of why it was so successful. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed the video, because there'll be a lot more like it in the future.